The Middle East is on the brink of chaos. Israel's airstrikes are hitting Gaza again, and Syria is targeting Hezbollah.
We have no interest in expanding the war, and throughout the war with cruise missiles and drones, anyone who carries out such an attack, we will settle the account with them, and we know how to do it.
Iran is making threats against the US and Israel, and then the Houthis declare war on America. But here's the shocking part. The Houthis aren't exactly an army to fear. So why is this happening now? What does it all mean for the region and the world? Trump and Israel just dropped bad news on Iran, and it's about to change everything.
But if we don't work it out, bad things are going to happen to Iran.
Let's break it down.
On Iran, the president said he's also considering secondary tariffs. If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. And it will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before.
Tensions in the Middle East are higher than ever. Israel has launched new attacks on Gaza, and Syria has started hitting Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. In the south, the Houthis in Yemen are escalating their attacks not just on military targets but on US commercial ships. And then there's Iran. They've been threatening both the US and Israel, supporting hostile groups all over the region. The situation is rapidly spiraling. It's no longer just a handful of skirmishes. Major powers are clashing. The strikes are huge. War seems like it could explode at any moment. With so many different players involved, Israel, the US, Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, it's hard to predict where it could go next. The world is watching closely though. Everyone's waiting for the next move in the situation that could forever change the balance of power in the Middle East. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas seemed promising at first. It was meant to bring peace after months of fighting. In the first phase, some hostages were exchanged and a temporary truce took hold, but quickly fell apart. Hamas rejected the terms of the ceasefire, and they were offered a deal that would release more hostages and free several Palestinian prisoners. Israel accepted, but Hamas refused even to consider it. The talks went on for weeks, but no agreement was made. On March the 16th, the Israeli government grew frustrated. They had waited for Hamas to sign an agreement, but it never happened. Israel's special envoy Steve Witkoff said that Hamas had wasted their chance. This led Israel to restart military operations, focusing on Hamas targets in Gaza. The goal is to bring back the remaining hostages. As a result, Israel resumed airstrikes. Hamas' refusal to negotiate and make a deal ultimately triggered the collapse of the ceasefire. With no end in sight, both sides are back in a brutal cycle of violence. And peace? Well, that just feels further away than ever. In 2023, the Houthis in Yemen crossed a dangerous line. They began attacking commercial US ships, passing through the Red Sea. What started as small targeted strikes quickly became a full-scale threat to global shipping. By 2024, the damage, well, that was clear. These attacks cost the global economy an estimated $200 billion. Shipping companies had to reroute their vessels around Africa, adding $1 million per trip. It wasn't just the commercial vessels that were at risk. The Houthis also targeted US military ships in the region, threatening the safety of American forces. These attacks raised alarms across the globe. The Houthis, backed by Iran, had crossed a red line that the US, well, they just couldn't ignore anymore. Trump wasted no time. He ordered the US Navy to take aggressive action against the Houthis. His message was clear: stop attacking US assets or there will be consequences. This is no longer just about Yemen. It's about keeping vital shipping lanes open and protecting American interests. The Houthis' escalating actions has pushed the situation to a breaking point. Now, the US military is responding, determined to stop the Houthis for causing further disruption in one of the world's busiest waterways. Trump made it clear attacks on US ships and assets won't be tolerated. When the Houthis ramped up their strikes, he gave the US military the green light to respond. This wasn't going to be a one-time show. It was a full-on strategy. The Pentagon immediately targeted Houthi military sites across Yemen. These included weapon storages, training facilities, and drone infrastructure. The strikes were precise and, well, they were powerful. The US wasn't just sending a message, they were dismantling the Houthi war machine. Trump's order was specific: destroy Houthi capabilities and stop any future attacks on US vessels. This wasn't about getting involved in Yemen's civil war, but protecting American interests and freedom of navigation in the region. Trump's response also sent a message to Iran. The Houthis are Iran's proxies, and every attack by the Houthis was seen as a direct attack of aggression from Iran itself. The US made it clear, if the Houthis attack, Iran is responsible. This strategy aims to end Iran's regional influence by targeting its proxy forces. The US is drawing a firm line, and any further aggression will not go unanswered. Iran has long been suspected of controlling many of the armed groups causing chaos in the Middle East. These groups, including Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis, are often called Iran's proxies. They fight on Iran's behalf, but with some deniability. Iran provides these groups with weapons, money, and training, but always tries to stay in the shadows. This strategy allows Iran to attack US interests and allies without directly taking the blame. It's a clever way to spread influence and stir trouble whilst avoiding confrontation. But it's also a dangerous game. Iran's involvement in these conflicts is becoming harder to ignore as tensions rise. Trump has had enough of this. His administration made it clear: attacks by any of Iran's proxies will be treated as if they're coming from Iran itself. This hardline stance changes the game. Now, instead of just targeting the Houthis or Hamas, the US is going after Iran directly. Iran's regional influence has grown, but the US is drawing a hard line. If Iran continues to control these groups, it will face serious consequences. The situation in the Middle East is about to get even more intense, as Iran's role becomes a major focus of international attention. Russia and China are not sitting on the sidelines in the Middle East. Both countries are closely tied to Iran and its proxies. Russia has long supported Iran's military activities and has deep ties with Hezbollah. But recently, they've taken things further. When the US started targeting Houthi positions, Russia didn't stay quiet. Moscow warned the US to stop its strikes, showing how embedded they are with these groups. Even more troubling, Russia's infamous arms dealer Viktor Bout has been linked to supplying weapons to the Houthis in Yemen. Meanwhile, China has quietly expanded its influence across the region, especially in the economic sector. They've strengthened their relationship with Iran, offering trade deals and investments. This partnership helps Iran bypass US sanctions, making it easier for Iran to continue supporting its proxies. Together, Russia and China are challenging the US and Iran in the Middle East, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile region. Trump has proposed a bold and controversial solution for Gaza. He wants to relocate Palestinians to other countries like Egypt or Jordan and rebuild the region. Gaza, he argues, is a demolition site with no future. Instead of staying in a war-torn area, Trump suggests giving Palestinians a chance at a new life elsewhere. This idea has sparked outrage. Critics argue it's unrealistic and countries like Jordan have already rejected it. However, Trump believes it could bring peace and stability. His plan raises essential questions about the future of Gaza and the broader Middle East. The Middle East is at a breaking point. With Israel, the US and Iran all on edge, the strikes are higher than ever. Trump's bold moves may reshape the region, but the question remains: will these strategies bring peace or ignite even more conflict? I guess only time will tell.